This is Gaelic for welcome to our home. And this is my house. And I'm going to be showing you how to set up a solar pathfinder so that you can find the best place to get solar. My house is situated in western North Carolina in the foothills in a city called Morganton. My house faces almost directly east, with the ridge of the house running 4 degrees off north and south. Obviously, I have a problem with trees on the south side that I have to contend with when looking for the best spot to put a solar array, whether it be PV or solar thermal. The south side of my house is an end or a transverse side. So all of these trees are going to affect what I get in solar gain throughout the day. The west side of the house is almost completely dark because of large oak trees that I have and some other trees to the west as well. One thing that I could do is I could set an array up in this field just to the west of the house. But again, I've got a lot of trees, but I do have some openness. Maybe I can get some sun out of that. This little jewel is the solar pathfinder. And with this simple little instrument here, we can determine how much sun we're going to get throughout the day in any particular spot. It consists of a bunch of solar maps for different regions. It consists of the map base with a compass on here so that we can find solar south. The base itself with 3 little holes for the stand, and then this little thing is what does most of the magic. This little globe, and you can see, and it already shows where we're going to have some solar gain throughout the trees. Let's talk about the individual parts a little bit more. The solar map has different maps depending on your latitude, and it gives you quite a bit of different choices here. Where I'm at, I'm going to be using 31 degrees to 37 degrees latitude north. To start with, I need to set up my stand. There's 3 little legs that go to this, and they attach to the bottom of the base. And of course, these can be adjusted to make this as level as possible. And you want to be able to take different readings on one particular land plot so that you can find the best place. We have the compass here that's going to tell us north and south, and we have a level button here that is going to tell us how to keep this level. So first of all, we want to set this down and get it level as possible. And it doesn't matter if it's perfectly on the stand or not, as long as our bubble here is good and level, and we have it set up in the direction where south is going to be going. Now, you need to find out what your declination is where you live. And the declination is, we have magnetic north on the earth. And let's say that this is the earth. We have magnetic north. Now let's put this north. We have magnetic north. All of our compasses are going to be pointing to this. But because our earth is shifted a little bit and north, the magnetic north moves around the top of the globe at all times, then that changes where we're actually at as far as the sun is concerned. The sun and magnetic north don't always line up. And where I'm at, I'm almost 7 degrees to the west. And it's always best to kind of stand on the north side. So I'm going to move this slightly 7 degrees to the west so that I have perfect solar south. It's always best to stand on the north side so that you don't interfere with any of the shadows here. And it's also best to do it on a cloudy day or before the sun gets too high in the sky, because I'm going to end up with a glare here. And that's okay, I can still see the trees, but you're going to get the best results from your pictures when the sun is not glaring on the globe itself. It gives us a little pencil that we could go through here and draw where our shades are going to be. But since we use it over and over and over and over again, we found out it's best just to take a picture of it with a camera. That way we can load it onto a computer and put it into a presentable program. First thing that we want to do is get this thing level. Always move it away from the bubble. And then we want to make sure that we are south, north and south. So this is north. And I want to make sure that I am 7 degrees to the west of north. So now I'm level. I'm about 7 degrees west of north. And I can see on this table here, this is where the sun is going to go. These are the times, 5 in the morning to 7 at night. And then we have June, July, May, August, April, September, March, October, February, November, January, and December. So this is where the sun is going to lie, and it gives us a degree here where we can count how many peak hours that we're going to have. Make sure that you're on the north side so that when you put this on, you can kind of see where the sun is going to be trailing along the trees in the house. This is the edge of the house, and these are the trees. So right here, as it says, about any time, summer or fall, all I'm going to get is a bunch of light here along the 12 o'clock to 3:30 range, and I don't even get that in the wintertime. Okay, so these are the summer months, these are the winter months. To start with, just for fun, I'm going to be setting this thing up in my parking lot, because I have a little bit of openness here, but let's see what the results are. I'm going to take a picture. And as you can see, I've got some trees over here on the east side. I've got some trees that's going to affect me in the winter months. And then I have some trees that's going to affect me to the west. And I'll talk about these later. Now I've got the solar pathfinder set up on the south side of my house. And I have been contemplating putting some solar shades over these windows here made from PV panels. So really I should be at the height of that window, but I don't have the methods to do that at this point. But you can see what kind of trees that I have across through here. And I've got some wide open spaces here as well. So let's take a reading here. Again, I'm standing on the north side, and you can see the outlines of the trees. Let's get a little closer here where I can get a good picture. Now, in this particular one, I'm going to get some sun about 10 o'clock in the summer months, around to 4 o'clock. In the winter, I'm going to be getting about 10 o'clock, but I'm going to drop off about 2 because of the trees over here. Even though these are deciduous trees, and they're going to lose their leaves, it still affects how much sun gain you're going to get in there. And then of course I've got this nice evergreen that is very tall and is going to be a pain in my butt through the whole process. Some of my filming crew follows me around. Now I've got the array set up on the west side of my house in this field. I've got a bunch of evergreen trees to my west, which are my neighbors, and I cannot do anything about them. One little deciduous tree of my neighbors, but then I've got my own trees here that I have to contend with. Let's see what we've got here. On this site, it looks pretty promising. Let's take a picture of that. So here, I'm going to get sunlight about 8:30 in the summertime, and maybe about, oh, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the wintertime. But look how open this is. I've got quite a bit here up until the afternoon hours. So in the wintertime, I'm going to start losing, because these are deciduous trees, I'm going to start losing out about 2 o'clock. And then in the summertime, I'm going to lose out about 3 o'clock. So this is not too bad. But I want to check a couple more spots. My filming crew doesn't like me leaving them. So let's go up on the house and see what we can get up here. So I'm up on the roof now. Still got this big oak to contend with on the west. 2 big oaks to contend with on the east. However, this first one here is going to go away really soon. As you can see, it's dying, and I don't want it to fall on the house. So what this time I've got, instead of bringing the stand up here, I want to get it down on the roof. So I've just got an old beanbag here, and I'm just going to lay this down on the beanbag to get this close to my roof, because that's where I'm going to be mounting them if I were putting them on the roof. And for some reason, my compass is being affected by something. Look at that. That is weird. So that's something, that's a new one, a new thing that I've had to contend with. Look at this. I bring it up off the roof and it goes the way it should. Put it down on the roof, I guess because it's metal, it goes all to pieces. That's going to be interesting. Well, even though my compass is off, I have got it pointed as close to solar south as I possibly can. So let's see what we've got here. Let me take a picture. All right, so we've got a lot of solar gain through the morning hours in the summertime, from about 7 o'clock all the way over to about 1 or 2 it looks like. I'll be able to analyze this better when I get inside into a computer. And then in the wintertime, that's all I got right there. That's the window. Okay, I've moved down to the edge of my flatter roof. That's where I was a minute ago, up against the chimney. And let's see what we get here that we pull a little bit further to the south. We still got these trees that we've got to contend with. A evergreen that we've got to deal with. And obviously this big oak. Again, my compass is being thrown off, and I'm assuming it's because of the metal roof. But nevertheless, I've got it. I've used my phone and got the right magnetic south going on, so I can kind of see where in the summertime, by moving forward, I'm gaining a little bit extra here, and I'm still losing everything in the wintertime about 3 o'clock due to these trees here on the west side. Let's try one more spot. All right, I am now at the edge of the southern side of my house. Got my solar pathfinder set up. Still got some trees to have to contend with. Let's see if that helped us out any. Again, my compass is being thrown off because of my roof. Let's get a picture in there. And we can kind of analyze this. All right, so by moving forward, we actually lost some because we're closer to this tree, but we did gain more in the west at the later time of the day. So let's go back to the office and analyze these. Well, I just realized that I made a big boo-boo. I guess I need to talk about that. So I was trying to set up my declination down here and pulling it out to 7 degrees west, but I screwed up. I should have set that directly straight to it. And the reason is because there's where I got my declination. This actually turns, this paper turns on there, and you set declination right there. So I actually had declination set, and I doubled it. So I'm way over here at 14. I shouldn't have done that. So all of my readings that I've done this morning are wrong. So live and learn. Okay, so now I can take my pictures and in paint with red, I'm just going to outline my trees. Then I can come back and, well, obviously I can't draw too well. Go back and figure out my percentages. Each one of these little numbers here represents a percentage of the sky. As soon as I get this drawn in, we'll cheat a little bit since that's dead. And go over here. If you go and add up all these numbers, they add up. It's like, in other words, if you take the June month and run around through here, all these numbers add up to 100%. Same with July, March, April, so forth and so forth, so forth. So in December, for instance, let me open up my calculator. And in December, I can run around here and I can say 7 plus 8 plus 8, and that's it. Maybe 4 plus 4 here. All right, so then I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to say 5 plus 4 plus 3. All right, so in December, I can only get 12% of the sunlight in the parking lot. But now if I'm in June, then I can start counting down here. All right, so let's clear that. And I cannot read that, but I'm going to assume that it's the same over here. So I'm going to say 2 plus 2, not 5, 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 3, and that's it. All right, so in June, I can get 87% out of the parking lot. Okay, so here is my parking lot. This was the first one that I did. This is the south side of the house. This was the second one that I did. The field was the third one that I did. Then I've got, here is the chimney, or is on the roof near the chimney, should I say. And then I did the center roof. And then I did the south roof. So I went through and calculated all of these up, and here's what I come up with. So again, if I go through here and I count all of these numbers here, count all of these up through from basically, you know, from March all the way over to here. Technically, I couldn't get that one. I go to here. All right. From there to there in March. Count all these numbers up. This is what I ended up with. So in the parking lot, I actually got my best, highest ones at 92%. However, I got a yearly average of 59%. The field, which I thought was going to do really well, even though I only got, my highest one was 87% during April and August, I ended up with a yearly average of almost 80% there for the field. So my roof did not do as good as I had hoped. I guess if I get rid of a couple of trees, then I might be able to improve on that. So let's take a look at the map right quick. So if I go over to Google and you know, zoom out, when you first open up Google, that's what it looks like, and then you zoom down to the house, and here we have my house. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press print screen on my computer, and then I'm going to go over here to paint, and I'm going to hit Control V, and it just puts it in there for me nice and pretty like. So I can go in, and right here is the parking lot. So that was the first setting. Actually, you know, I was sitting down here doing the demo this morning, but then this is where I actually took the first reading and took a picture. Then I went right here, and this was number 2 on the south side of the house, up against the house. Then I came down here into the field, and I did spot number 3. Then I climbed up on the roof, spot number 4, spot number 5, and spot number 6 on the roof. So that gives you an idea of what I was kind of looking at right there. So I stayed up here I stayed down south here so that I could get a lot of this openness here. The trees that are giving me the biggest problem, this is that dead tree. You can see kind of the dead things out of there, and this one is going to disappear. This one's going away in a couple of weeks. And I'm thinking about cutting this evergreen here. I don't know yet. My son, 2 of my sons park in the rear. You can see his white car here, and his brother drives a red truck that parks there, and this thing leaks sap on it all year round, and they're just about tired of it. So, and my wife has actually said that we might get rid of this evergreen up here. Both this and this are Douglas firs, and I don't know. I'm kind of torn between the two. I don't know. Here's that line of evergreens that I can't move. This is my neighbors over here. Can't do anything with that. These are my trees. I can get rid of some of those. However, I've got a full line sight with my neighbor, and I would rather like to just have my privacy if I possibly could. So that gives you an idea of where I come from on my solar, and one of the reasons why I don't have solar currently at this time. But what I want you to do is go in and so go over here to site planning and click on does the sun shine at your house, and this will open up, and here it is. Create a 15-slide PowerPoint presentation explaining the sunshine your house receives. Use the solar pathfinder, which you're going to check out, to calculate the sun times and explain what shading you may have occurring. Are there issues with your neighbor's yard? Is your house oriented correctly? If you could, what system what systems and where could they be located? So what I want you to do is not only just create a 15-slide PowerPoint presentation, I want you to video it and record it, and then submit it that way so that everybody can see it. All right, there is your job. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.